This is also a two-part question. How did you feel when you voted for the first time?
And how did you feel when your daughters, Sasha and Malia, voted for the first time?
Well, uh, I felt good about voting the first time, even though, as I remember, the candidate who I voted for actually lost. Because I'm kind of old, and so this was back in 1980. Would be the first time I voted, and I still remember, going in that voting booth and really feeling like, okay, what I'm doing here makes a difference. It's important. It'll determine a lot of stuff, and that's part of what you guys are already way smarter than I was at your age. But as you get older, sometimes people think you grow up just because you get taller or your voice gets deeper, or you're older in years. But the truth is, for me at least, being an adult means you become more responsible and you become more aware, and you start trying to figure out, all right, how can I have an impact and have an influence? And voting, to me, was part of that process of me really growing up and saying, I can't just leave it to somebody else to solve problems, or not care or worry about what's going on. I've got to, have some responsibility, and that's what voting felt like. And so when Malia and Sasha first voted, we were pretty excited about just seeing how seriously they took the process. They were doing their research and asking questions, and they were nagging their friends to make sure their friends were voting, and that made us pretty proud just to see that they had become these responsible, thoughtful, kind young women, who took citizenship seriously, and I was really proud of them. Did you feel the same way?
Same way. I remember, because when Sasha voted, it was this past president, and she was very nervous about making sure her ballot was perfect. So she was sitting at the kitchen table, and she was like, "Look, just give me space. I want to make sure I don't mess this up."
Right, because she was voting absentee.
Yeah, she was voting absentee. So she had the ballot in the kitchen table, and she had her, information right beside her. So this her first election was this past, it was the last presidency. So she felt very responsible for making sure that her voice was heard. So felt good. And I can't wait for all of you to be in that role in a few years now. And the fact that you're on this call in your amazing red shirts and your serious questions,
right,
means that you are getting yourself ready to be accountable for the community and for the country that you're going to live in. So we are proud of you all.